Hi, welcome. I had been arranging with Bartek to test the BMW i4 for about 2 years, and at some point, about a year and a half ago, I got a message saying, sorry, Zakar off, but that's the situation. He's selling his i4, and I said, well, that's a shame, too bad, maybe another time with a different car, so what are you buying? And Bartek says, I'm buying an i4. I said, you know what, Bartek, now I really want to record this video with you, because if someone is selling an i4 and buying an i4, then he really knows what he's doing, and I think all of us will want to know about it. You're very welcome.
Hi, I'm Bartek from Pionki near Radom. As Zakar said, we've been planning this video for 2 years. The lease ended, so I had to get another one. Why not a different car? Well, because it's a BMW. I love rear-wheel drive, and I've been loyal to the brand since I was born, ever since I got my driver's license. So this is a car I love and a brand I value and like. Previously, I drove an E39 with a 5.3 3-liter gasoline engine, a BMW 530 F10 with a 3-liter diesel and a slightly larger SUV. Why did I decide to go electric? Savings? I have photovoltaic panels installed at home, I have a surplus, and above all, it looked beautiful in the showroom. So I decided that I would test it, give it a try, and see if it's worth it or not. We'll see over a period of 3 years. For now, the car is excellent. No shifting, fast acceleration, and savings. The Concept i4 stands out for its acceleration and upholding the brand's standards. It's still a car that, at first glance, when you look at the headlights, look at the grille, you can see it's a BMW, and above all, it's a 4 Series. For me, since I drive alone, it's enough, and it's quite a fast version. That was the main thing that mattered when choosing this current one that's here in front of us. As I mentioned the speed, let's check under the hood for some technical data. First, acceleration, 4.7 seconds to 100, 340 horsepower. There's definitely fun to be had. I checked it myself, and it really is 4.7 seconds with a stopwatch in hand. Interestingly, the electric car is quiet thanks to soundproofing, yet we still see a large engine cover. It suggests that the engine is very big, but let's take a look inside under the cover. Unfortunately, the engine is not visible. It's practically at the level of the axle. And what I regret is that an extra trunk would be useful. I've driven 35,000 kilometers with this one, which is quite a lot in a year and a half. With the previous one, it was about 25,000. What's the fuel consumption when driving calmly? We have 18 kilowatt, but of course it's more if you have a heavier foot. It matches the BMW guidelines, which I'm glad about since that's not always true, especially with combustion cars. The range looks like this. I always say 400-500 kilometers depending on the season, the range, the moment, like when it's July. That's 450 real kilometers that I do, and believe me, I have a heavy foot, so you really can cover that many kilometers. Interestingly, I drove from Spionek to Wrocław on a full charge and arrived with just 1% battery remaining. I was a bit worried, but I knew there was a reserve. There's a 60 kernel buffer in case it hits zero, and that was about 480 kilometers of continuous driving. As for the battery capacity, it's about 80 kilowatts. Interestingly, charging now with city fast chargers takes 45 minutes to an hour to reach 80%. At 150 kWh, that's a very fast charger. At home, I plug in at 11 kWh overnight, and when I wake up in the morning, it's charged, so that's how it works. However, I did have one little issue. In the case of this particular car, the rear differential started leaking. It came up when I was at the dealership for a routine check, and the rear differential was leaking. The replacement was covered by warranty, so everything went smoothly. We're inside, there's a big television, a big tablet, I like that. Some people say it's too much, like being in a living room with a television, but for me it's not interesting. You can set up the look of the speedometer here, so there are a few different options. Of course, we have 4 driving modes, Sport, Comfort and Eco Pro. I usually drive in Eco Pro, although sometimes it's hard to say how. This is a BMW fan, and here there's a downside that comes up again. This tablet or this electronic part in the back, it's really hot here. I don't know how it hasn't worn out yet. I'll be honest, in the 3 years that I'll have it, right now. Let's say it's halfway, but it gets really hot, especially now in the summer. What does that cause? When using the navigation, the tip of your finger just burns. You have to do it really quickly and it's a bit troublesome. How does the electronics inside work there? If it's hot and burning me, I don't know. Somehow it manages. I've never had anything freeze up on me. But surely that's not desirable for the electronics. The interior design is interesting. We have an extended seat here, so we can adjust it here as well. It's the same for the driver. It's just a bit more comfortable to sit then. Our thighs are supported, especially if we're driving faster. That's also desirable. The basic sound system works well. I enjoy loud music and I'm very satisfied with its performance and features.
Dear friends, this episode is partnered with MUBI. PL, which is a well-known way for you to buy cheap insurance, is a comparison tool that checks offers from different insurance companies and prepares a ranking of the best and cheapest offers for you when you buy through MUBI. PL/Zakharov Plus, get 100 Polish zloty cash back after buying a policy. Enter your car details to see available offers. Even if your policy isn't expiring now, you can compare it with what you paid for yours in the description, and let's not overpay for insurance. Since Bartek has already advertised so much that you can set everything up here, I guess there's nothing left for me to do but confirm that it's cool, but I'll try to approach this critically. I'm sitting as low as possible. Now I've lowered the seat, and above my head I have 5 fingers of free space, so from the outside the car looks and actually is a sports car, but inside we get a lot of headroom in relation to the steering wheel. Now I'm still a bit too far, but I can easily move closer. The console is shaped in such a way that I still have plenty of space in front of my knees on both sides. It's basically symmetrical, so I can easily slide under the steering wheel, and I can also pull the steering wheel out a bit more. I've messed things up for you, but now I fit perfectly with the steering wheel, and this is exactly the kind of setup you want to feel comfortable in the car while driving and to have perfect contact with the car. So it's a perfect score. In terms of space for someone who's 2 meters tall, everything is fine, but since I'm already sitting inside, because Bartek didn't mention this, let's feel the materials here. The entire top of the console is finished with very soft material, and there's quite a large surface area here. Piano black. It feels like real aluminum. It definitely looks like that. Here we have some plastic that creaks a little, then we go back to this aluminum strip. It moves a bit, but it doesn't creak anymore. You can pull the door as much as you want, no sounds at all. So honestly, practically no complaints. Let's see if there will be any complaints about how much space is left on the original rear bench. There's already a hint that it won't be so great anymore. We open the doors and they're nearly half as long as the front ones. Maybe that's an exaggeration, but about half. But you can see that the car's format is still a coupe, where we have these extra doors, but they're not like the doors from a sedan. And indeed, the space above my head here in the back, just like in the front, where there was a fantastic amount, is still really good here. Let's say I'm missing about 3 centimeters to straighten up under the seat, but there's no lack of space for my knees. However, I would say it's really tight. It's not soft here because it's a hard shell and there aren't any knee recesses either. They don't quite fit under the knees of someone who's 2 meters tall, so in neither dimension does the 2-meter test pass, unfortunately. But again, the question is, does anyone really expect that from the 4th series? Probably not.
Yes, as I said, the trunk has plenty of space, enough for me or even 2 travelers. Naturally, BMW made sure it's suitable for skiing trips too. I drove, I checked, we put them inside, so here the skis fit without any problem. We also have an extra shelf at the bottom where we can store some essentials. We have a trunk. Because this is a Grand Coupe, the roofline slopes down a bit here, so it's lower. Actually, where I have my hand, that's where it ends, of course. And of course, there's a high threshold. For me, it's not a problem. I'm a tall person, so it doesn't bother me. The threshold is fine, it's acceptable.
You're not a Sunday driver because you drive a lot. You've done 35,000 kilometers in a year and a half. Why did you actually go for an electric car and have to worry about charging when you could have done it differently? Oh yeah, just fill up and keep going? Oh, so is it just the nature of your trips that lets you use up one battery and that's it, and your workday just happens to end? Or did you just accept that in the middle of your workday you have to stop to charge? And that's okay?
You know what? Here's the thing. Since I work as a civil engineer, I drive about 43 miles a day. On Friday, my work weekends, and over the weekend, I might drive somewhere around my city, and that's when I charge the car. So it's enough for me for the whole week, no problem. And I was even wondering, since I've already put quite a few kilometers on it, it's almost 36,000, will the battery's efficiency drop? I haven't noticed, to be honest, after this period, because I still easily get through the week and I still have about 30, maybe 40 kilometers left. Why an electric car? I have surplus solar panels at home, so I charge for free. I bought them, but now I use them. Of course, so I keep checking and testing this car all the time. Yes, maybe we're still testing it. It's not the right word, but I keep using it because I still have fun driving this car. A lot of people tell me that you have to stop, make a special stop to charge it. No, I've never had a situation like that.
Practically for recreation, it's okay. Yes, for me, it's just that my whole question was from a business perspective where there's no time to stand and wait, right?
Well, when it comes to my business, it's some robots, some things like that. We also do apartment inspections, so that's kind of the specifics of what I do. It doesn't really bother me that it's an electric car because we mainly operate in Radom and the surrounding areas, so these aren't long trips. Sometimes I have to go to a meeting with a client somewhere, but I haven't gone to Gdansk yet because that would be a straight shot, okay? Yes, I would have to charge in Warsaw, even as an example. Now, if I came to the meeting and went back, I'd have about 30, maybe 35% battery left. Honestly, I'm curious to drain it completely. Will it, I don't know, pull over to the side or I don't know how the car will behave. I think it will just stop. Yeah, it will stop. It will roll and it will roll.
Yeah, when the battery management system cuts off the power,
That's it.
its job is to protect the battery so it can't really let it drain to zero either.
No, it can't.
When it shows you zero, it's actually at least 10. And going back to what you said, after a year, after 35,000. So for the battery, a charging cycle is simply counted as discharging, like giving away all of its energy. If you charge 10 times, that counts as one charging cycle. That's it. Oh, I see. Yes. So if you can do, let's say, 400 kilometers on one battery, then naturally on 10 you can do 4,000 mHm, and on 140,000. Right, so that's only 100 times the battery has been discharged, and even a nickel manganese cobalt one with average rough treatment will last 2,000 cycles, so you're only at 5%.
So I can go.
You'll still be able to ride a bit more.
I'll still ride a bit more.
Yes, okay. Now we'll see how it goes with the moose test, because here we're approaching a place where the moose test should be very easy for us. But since we're in a BMW, I guess that's not an issue. Besides, an electric car has such a low center of gravity that it will just be a formality, and it should be even easier to succeed.
Thanks.
Thanks, exactly. I know it's 2 tons, but I think that's normal for cars like this. When you're going fast and, for example, you have a tightening corner like that, and then you can feel it just drifting out, getting thrown off the road because it's heavy. At that moment, it doesn't matter if the weight is just above the asphalt, higher or lower, it's just there, and the centrifugal force throws it out. And then you can see that a lighter car would perform better. However, with those sudden jerks where it's really about transferring the mass from one side to the other, I think that mass doesn't get in the way that much. Precisely because it's very, very low. So here we have an empty road ahead of us. As you can see, I'm always lucky here in this spot. No one behind us, no one in front of us. So yes, 50 kilometers per hour dry asphalt, all conditions are perfect. That's it, but I'd gladly go. Everything's intact. I think everything's intact. I'll tell you, the way he went left with such pleasure and ease was truly impressive. And I think he surprised himself because when it came time to get back to his place, he got a bit of oversteer. You could hear the tires squealing, but I didn't need to counter steer or anything. I just kept driving like nothing happened. And interestingly, it basically managed to return to its stable state on its own without any intervention, because nothing jerked us, nothing flashed. It just handled it with its suspension, and it was really nice. I expected there would be a bit less excitement on the way back when it comes to oversteer, but that was because it was extremely eager to throw itself to the left. It wasn't lazy at all. It was really responsive. This steering wheel is not just for show. It actually changes the direction of the car. Good. That was it. Since you say you drive around construction sites, why don't you have something like, I don't know, a 9 with more power?
Yeah, the iX2, for example, I drove it. iX2, I had a chance to test it. It drives great too, so why the iX? Well, because it's electric.
All right, I'm looking for it now.
I'm looking also for those savings later. I've got about a year and a half left here, so I'm thinking maybe I'll switch to Suva too. There's actually one that's just right. Why? Because it's a cool toy, it's great to drive, even the test went really well, it turned out great, so everything works smoothly here. However, the nature of my job is such that sometimes I have to get to places where there are no roads. That's why the idea came up to try the iX2. I was at BMW in Redham and saw the iX2 just sitting there. So I asked them about it because I was driving for a day. They gave it to me for a test. It performs well, really fast acceleration. Well, it's electric obviously, so there are no gear shifts. It goes right away. And the ground clearance is significant, much better, much higher. So I think I'll go for it. And of course, as a loyal fan of the brand, I think I'll choose BMW, especially since it's quite efficient. So they're doing well with these electric cars. What's also interesting is that when I got this car, everyone asked if I did a test drive, but I actually didn't. I just took it, and the test drive was basically when I picked it up. So that was my test drive back then.
But before that, you also had the 40 version.
Yes, the last one was like that too. I admire you.
Exactly, I wanted that car.
You know what? I liked that testimony. Listen, I literally like it. It's a sports car, just like you said, the center of gravity is low, and of course the drive, because it's a BMW. Well, we know that. And honestly, I don't really have any. There are some flaws, some minor downsides, but in reality they kind of fade away. Because in the way I use this car, it's not really a serious problem. And interestingly, even these seats are comfortable for longer trips. Your back doesn't even hurt, for example. I have a friend who always complains about this, but says it's great to sit here, so it's a perfect hit.
Well, I think that in a car with this kind of body, rear-wheel drive is even more natural. Yes, in the case of everything that has X in the name, it's X-Drive. I'm not saying it has to be that way because everyone has their own needs, but it's probably more natural too.
Well, probably yes, because it's more like that. Let's say a bit of off-roading, and even where I work there are different construction sites, so it would be useful here.
Sometimes people need an internal reason. Why pay more? For off-roading, I sometimes buy it to get places, but you don't need to anymore.
I don't need to explain myself, it's clearly necessary.
It's not a whim, it's a need, so thank you very much.
Thank you too.
I'm glad we managed to do it after
2
years. Thank you for presenting the car, so I wish you continued pleasant electric driving. As you can see, it's quiet, peaceful, always has full power at your right foot, and is incredibly stable, at least at everyday speeds. So I completely understand your choice. And when will you decide to switch to the X2? So why? Hopefully you'll like them.
I'll call, we'll do some testing.
Thanks, really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you in the next videos.